For all things outdoors, listen to the father of two, the Jesus-loving TV show hosting hairy, true-blood American redneck, Ben Cole.
And listen to the outdoor filming, chef cooking, chocolate milk drinking, John Weissmuller. And we are
Rooted Podcast.
Welcome back to another episode of Rooted Podcast. This week we're going to talk to you about the opening weekend of whitetail in Tennessee. We had a hurricane blow through, and I've got a pretty awesome Bible verse to share with you this morning. Acts 10, verses 11 through 14, and we're going to maybe look at 15. And it reads, "He saw the sky open, and something like a large sheet was let down by its four corners. In the sheet were all sorts of animals, reptiles, and birds. Then a voice said to him, 'Get up, Peter, kill and eat them.' 'No, Lord,' Peter declared. 'I have never eaten anything that our Jewish laws have declared impure and unclean.' But the voice spoke again, 'Do not call something unclean if God has made it clean.' The same vision was repeated 3 times. Then the sheet was suddenly pulled back up to heaven." So there we go, John. Right there in the book of Acts. Kill and eat. Animals are for us to consume. That's what they're here for. We have to eat. We have to have sustenance. We have to have protein. And that is the most organic, pure way to get it. You know, people talk about being organic all the time. And man, me and you are the original organic people. Because we hunt and we kill. We don't have any of this other stuff that's like, yeah, this is organic because this chicken ate grass. It's like, no, bro.
Yeah.
This deer is organic because it's not been touched by man. God made it, and that's that.
Yes. Yep, that's exactly right. It was here on earth, and then now it's in my hands, and that's the only transaction it's ever had in life.
That's exactly right. From field to the frying pan. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, man. Oh, it really is amazing, you know, how organic has kind of blown up here, you know, in the past few years. You just, when you really think about it, and it does make sense to eat, you know, healthier with less, you know, just junk in our food. There's so much crap in our food, man. It really is ridiculous. But, you know, yeah, but the funny part about it is that most people who eat organic or buy all the organic products in the grocery store most of them are like anti-hunters. And they're like, whoa, wait a minute. How are you organic, but then you're anti the most organic thing on this planet? How does that work? Wait a minute. What's going on here? Yeah. So, you know, funny enough, we're actually kind of on the same team. You know, you just go to the store or I go to the woods, but in all reality, we're all on Team Organic here.
Yeah, dude.
You really think about it.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, too, man, you know, we're going to God's grocery store instead of a man-made grocery store. And, you know,
yeah, exactly.
Dude, I got to thinking about it the other day. It's like, why are people so concerned about, you know, what we do? Why don't they just be concerned about themselves? You know, I mean, because if you look at it biblically, I'm pretty sure that there are 41 references to hunting in the Bible. 41, John. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Because, you know, you got to start in Genesis, pick up your bow and quiver, go out to the field and hunt game for me. And then I'm pretty sure it's Genesis 9 talks about us having dominion over all the animals and we're supposed to see after them and all this yada, yada, yada. That's just 3 that I know off the top of my head, but I read a while back that there were 41 references to hunting in the Bible. So that shows me that these animals were created for us to eat. However, that is not to be misconstrued as, oh yeah, we should just go out and slaughter all these animals. No. Yeah. There's another rule in there, and that is we have to take care of this too, because this is what God gave us to sustain life. So we have to take care of what he has given us to do so. You know, I mean, that's just kind of where I'm at on that. And, you know,
it's called managing the herd.
Yeah, it is. It is, man. So while we're talking about managing a herd, what in the world are you getting into this afternoon? I know that yesterday was the opening day of whitetail here in Tennessee for the archery. And you were telling me yesterday that you were going out today. So, what is your game plan for today?
Yeah, so you know, people may be wondering, like, what kind of dude that has a hunting podcast didn't go on opening day? So let me back up here just a little bit before I answer your question, Ben. As
Yeah.
Ben said earlier, there was a sure enough hurricane that came through this state. And listen, we are very lucky and blessed. It did not affect us near as much as somewhere like my brother in Valdosta, Georgia, who had, 100-year-old trees, big old trees in his yard that barely missed his house. He got very fortunate. But, you know, down in West Tennessee, there's hospitals flooded. People are on roofs. There's bridges getting taken out. I mean, this was a serious, very, very serious storm. I-40 East going into North Carolina, half of that's gone. It got washed out. So, like, when we say a storm come through, I mean, by golly, a sure enough storm. But, for us, it was just a lot of wind and rain, and we were very fortunate. But still, wasn't the smartest idea for me to go out there and try to hunt a deer and all this craziness. So I just took that opening day off, knowing that it was going to subside. And the next day on Sunday, the rain's still kind of here, but I know around noon it's going to go away, allegedly, according to the weatherman. We all know how that goes, but it's supposed to go away.
Mm-hmm.
So what we're going to do is I'm taking out a family friend of mine, K-Dog. I've mentioned K-Dog before,
Mm-hmm.
and he hasn't killed a deer in, it's probably been 10, 15, 20 years. So we're going to go out there, sit in a blind over the clover and the Dacon radish field, and there have been deer coming in there consistently all the time, anywhere from 3 to like 7 deer. So they've been coming in. I've been watching them on the Wise Eye there, just staring at them on the Hunt Control app. So I know they're in there. So as long as poor little K Dog can shoot straight, we should have a good successful evening. And I'm excited. Anytime that I can reintroduce somebody into hunting, it's just as exciting for me as taking someone that's brand new because to them they're getting to relive it all over again. But this time, instead of being 20 or 30, this person is, I think high 40s, whatever, low 50s, whatever. And to me, a lot of people don't ever think about, bringing somebody new again into hunting. All you ever hear is, man, take a kid hunting, which is fine. And that's amazing. But in the same breath, there's a ton of adults out there who are like, man, I did that once with my grandpa, but I think I'd really like to get into that. Well, come on.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care how old you are. Let's go. So I'm really excited. And he's been shooting his bow. We've been doing great. Dude, this is hilarious. I got to tell this story. I got to pick on Kevin for a minute. You know how I am now. If we can
Go
pick on
ahead.
somebody, we're going to do it.
Oh, yeah.
So, all right, we're sitting now in Kevin's, I don't know if he wants me to say his name or not. Anyway, but in his defense, he hasn't really shot a bow much. So, he doesn't really know all the fundamentals. I didn't really know that whenever we shot together. I just thought he kind of knew because his form is pretty good. He was doing good, and he's been around guns his whole life, so he grasps the concept of stance and stability, and kind of those fundamentals. But a bow's different, of course, than a 9mm.
Yeah.
But so anyway, he's shooting, and he's shooting. I mean, consistently in a good group, and I'm like, that's awesome. But it's off center. Not a problem. I can fix that. Fixing a shooter who's all over the place, that's a little harder. Doable, but that's a little harder. Maybe it could be how they're knocking or how they're standing or holding the bow or how their elbow. There's 100 different things it could be. But if you're shooting in a group, I don't care if the group's 3 feet to the left. I can fix that part.
Mm-hmm.
So he was shooting a group. I'm like, great. I go to move the sight. I forget where. I think he was shooting left, so I moved the sight left. And he just keeps shooting in the same spot. Dude, it got to the point I moved his sight all the way over one way, all the way over the other way. I was like, I don't know if your sight's way different than mine. I don't know. Like, I've never seen this before. This is crazy. And we got to looking, and I said, dude, shoot one more time. And he shoots, hits the same spot. And I'm like, Kevin, tell me what you're seeing. He's like, well, I'm seeing the sight. I said, are you looking through this little peep right here, this little thing called a peep sight? Well, no. Oh, God, Kevin, you gotta look through the peep sight, brother. So, and he's like, dude, I remember them telling me that. He goes, and this is when I found out. He goes, this is only my second time shooting a bow. And I'm like, oh, I didn't know that. Holy crap. I'm like, you're doing amazing for your second time. I'm like, I was terrible my second time.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm like, oh, okay. So then he looks through the peep. We get his bow on. He's cashing money now. So all in all, things are going well. But I thought, oh my gosh, dude, I don't know what's wrong with this bow. I'm like, something's wrong with this bow. Nope, just didn't look through the peep sight. So there you go. You'll have that.
Oh, that's hilarious, man. That is hilarious. Hey, we've all been there. We've all done it, man. I'll tell you, when I started shooting bows, I was not very good, to say the least. Not good at all.
Oh, dude, I was awful, man. I remember me and my dad getting in arguments, dude, about he was trying to teach me how to shoot a bow.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, man. I don't even think I was driving yet, you know. I don't really remember. I just remember I got my bow and I'm just shooting it, and he just kept telling me, like, you know, man, I can't fix it because you aren't shooting in groups. Like I can't fix it yet. And I'm like, well, help me shoot in groups, you know. And we were just going back and forth and back and forth, and I finally figured it out and got some lessons from some people and learned things. And you know, over time, you just kind of figure it out and gain knowledge from everybody that you're around. But oh, buddy, it was rough going.
I bet it was for me. I know that. Well, yesterday we ended up going deer hunting, Johnny boy, in the rain.
There you go.
I thought, well, you know what? We're already down here filming with to finish up some stuff for the Huntwise boys. Why don't we just go get in a shooting house because it is raining, and that way our gear doesn't get quite as wet, especially our cameras. That's what we do not want to get wet. So we rolled on down to my favorite spot on the whole farm, the Field of Dreams. The Field of Dreams. It's a field that's wrapped in corn. And if you look on the LiDAR layer in the Huntwise app, you can see where there's two ridges that come down and meet right at the center point of this field. And behind you, there is two logging roads that meet coming down a mountain. I mean, they do have to cross a creek and all that stuff, but it's still the travel. It's like right in the middle of two major travel patterns. And you can see all that with the LiDAR layer, which peels back all the trees and everything and just shows you the actual topography, which is pretty nice, like a 3D style. So anyway, we have this beautiful corn-wrapped field. In the field, there is turnips, oats, triticale, clover, a little bit of everything in there. We have a ton of stuff planted in there. And it's coming up, you know, it's 2 or 3 inches tall now. Rolling. Well, the deer had no interest in the food plot. All they cared about was the corn, and that was it.
Imagine that.
Yeah, the standing corn, man. That's all they cared about. And we sat there and watched this one doe with 2 fawns, twins. She came out and like right in front of us. She came down one of those ridges and looped around, and she stayed right on the edge in one row of corn. And the 2 fawns stayed on the outside in the food plot because they were actually eating the food plot. But she milled her way down to the gap at the far end, hung around, and then they went and staged up in the other patch of standing corn and stood there for like 2 hours. Well, I couldn't see them anymore. I thought, oh, they're gone on. Oh, no, they hadn't gone on. They were just hanging out in that standing corn eating. That's what they were doing.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Well, I'd look back over. This was about at this time it was about 6:15, 6:20. I look over and see this corn stalks shaking. I was like, "What in the world? That turkeys or something?" And I look up and all I could see is a gray body, like a light gray body. I've never seen a deer this light gray before. I pull up my
Hmm.
binoculars and it's a buck. I was like, "Ooh, which
Oh, buddy.
one are you, big dog?" Turns out he's one of the hit list bucks. He's one of ours that, dude, his antlers are so chocolate. He looks like a freshly unwrapped Hershey's bar on those antlers. It's beautiful.
Mm.
And man, he's just ripping corn off the cob there, just flying it up in the air and everything. It was just super cool to watch. And then about 5 minutes later, I see another one shaking on down. So I get my binoculars again. I turn and I look. I was like, oh, okay. Big Daddy's in the house. So Big Daddy walks out and starts pushing him out, the other buck, who was just a little bit
Mm.
smaller than him, just started pushing him out. I was like, oh, please, come on. Walk right next to me. You can do it. You can do it. And he didn't. He stayed at 75 yards. You know, man, I'm not one of those guys that's going to shoot 75 yards with a bow. Ain't happening. I am a gunslinger. And look, if they're over 40 yards, I'm not taking that shot. I'm not doing it. I
Yeah.
would rather get
Well,
out
man,
my
you got to
binoculars.
do what's comfortable to you.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, man. And, you know, there's some people that can shoot that shot, but that's not me. I'm not that guy. If it's over 40 yards, rifle's coming out. Period. End of story. It's just what that's going to be. I just don't want to shoot a deer that far with a bow because there's so many variables. The wind,
Yeah, exactly.
the wind
And,
can
you know, there's
push.
just a lot that could go on.
Yeah. So the wind can push your arrow 100 different ways. I mean, there's just a lot of variables that I don't even want to think about, you know. But dude, it was awesome. We watched those bucks for, gosh, 45 minutes or so. So they fed around.
Mm.
One of them came out in the field because he was pushed out in the field, and I thought, ooh, just hang a left. Like, just turn left now, and you're good. Like, you'll be in distance. If you turn left and walk straight to these woods right here beside me, you'll be within 40 yards, and I can hit that pump station or
Yeah.
deflation nation, you know, deflate them lungs a little bit. But he never did. He kept going, cut back into the corn, and I just kept watching him. And Orion was with me, and he was getting some pretty awesome footage of the deer in the corn. And man, they just slipped right on off, right past where I've already got a tree stand. I was like,
Mm.
man, we should have sat there today, but it's raining, and all of our camera gear would have got soaked. So, you know, it's kind of one of
Yeah.
those catch 22s. You either do or you don't. You know, that's one of them. It's kind of tough. You know.
Well, you know, it's the whole zig and zag of the world. You zig, those deer zag. They are smart creatures of the world, and they can sense things that we may not be able to totally understand, but
Yeah.
they are smarter than people give them credit for.
Oh, they are. They are a lot smarter than people give them credit for. But man, it was fun. It was fun watching those two deer. It got my heart pumping a little bit. You know.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
We hadn't got to the full diesel stroke yet, but we were getting there. If he had turned and walked to
Yeah, boy.
40, I promise you I'd have pulled the muscle in my back again.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah, you know how that goes.
Mm.
Yeah, you know how
Happens
that
too
goes.
often.
Oh yeah, I get real excited and tear the whole place apart.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
No, no, not at all, man. Not at all. So
Oh man,
anyway,
I get it. You know,
yeah.
it's exciting, man. That's one of the best parts about hunting that no one ever really discusses. Is just, you know, I mean, the kill is just a fraction of the moment. You know, it's like
Mm-hmm.
if you're talking about just the hunt, and we're gonna exclude all the things that lead up to that, which is so much work and so much effort and so much fun.
Mm-hmm.
But man, if you talk about just the enjoyment of a deer or a turkey coming to you, doing its thing, and then you know in your head, like, oh my gosh, the moment I've been working so hard for, it's
Mm-hmm.
fixing to happen like in 3 seconds. Here we go.
Yes.
Don't screw it up.
Yes.
and then, oh my God, here we go, like that moment before the arrow even gets there. That's probably one of the best moments because it's just like your heart just, and oh
Mm-hmm.
my gosh, you're like, here we go.
Here we
Because
go.
imagine this. I've tried to explain it like this too, to people, and maybe if I say it out loud here, it'll make sense to people. Okay, if you're fishing and if you could watch the biggest bass of your life come at your bait and you know he's going to hit it, and you
Mm-hmm.
just know, that would be so like, so that's what it is to me when it's like, dude, I'm going to smoke this deer. Here he comes. Like, imagine you're sitting there just fishing with whatever and a little worm or something, and you see that bass coming, and you're like, he's going to hit it. He's going to hit it. Oh my God. That, like, that kind of excitement. But, obviously when you're fishing, you can't see that kind of stuff. So, but
Yeah.
you do whenever you're hunting. And like
Mhm.
that moment to me is just as, if not more exciting than the actual, you know, kill itself.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%, man. I don't know, there's something about it. It's just addicting and it just draws you in. And it's a good kind of addiction when you're out in God's creation. I would much rather be addicted to God than I would be to something else. Promise you that.
Oh yeah.
It's a whole lot better for you in the long run. I guarantee you that.
Yeah.
But man, the thing is too that people need to realize is, we did go and sit and we did see two really nice bucks right off the rip. But now I've also been working on that property for 3 years now.
Mm-hmm.
We've had to spend a lot of time and a lot of effort getting that property set up the way that it is and letting a
Yeah.
lot of bucks walk. That has been one of the hardest things is letting bucks walk because, man, there's just you just got to. You have to let them walk. If you want to kill big deer, you have got to let the young ones go to be able to kill big deer. That's just all there is to it. If you shoot all
Yeah.
your 3 year olds, you're never going to have big deer. Ever. Never going to have big deer. Deer really matures when they're 5 or 6 years old, even 7. So, you
Yeah.
really,
And
yeah.
there's a lot of variables there, obviously. But
Well, yeah, and I'm
yeah.
not I'm not saying, they're gonna all be Boone and Crockett's. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying that, they're gonna grow to their max potential, whatever that is.
Correct.
When they're 5, 6, and 7, that is the range for them to be the best that they can be. And now there's some places you go that, your neighbor's gonna shoot whatever walks. So, it's kind of hard to manage a place when you have everybody around you just brown us down. So I get it. I get that and I understand that. And I'm not knocking anybody for shooting anything. I don't care. I'm just saying I'm
No.
proud. I'm proud for you. I really am. I'm just saying if you're one of those guys that want to shoot big bucks, you have to let the young
Correct.
ones walk. You have to. Have to let
Yep.
the young deer walk. No two ways about it, man. Now let them go.
No, for sure. Yeah, and the biggest thing about the whole when when a deer matures, the reason I said it kind of varies is because a number of things. It's how good is your food plot doing that year? Do you have a food plot? Let's let's say you don't, and it's kind of a dry summer, and the deer doesn't get a lot of nutrients it needs. It may fall off that year, but then the next year is a great rainfall year, and it gets all the nutrients and things that it needs, and it blows back up. Like, I mean, there's just so much that goes into it because a lot of people think like, oh, automatic, this deer's going to get bigger. It's like, well, in a perfect world, yeah, but that's not the case all the time. Now
Mm-hmm.
obviously, if you're planting the food and you're giving that deer what it needs, sure. But if you're not, then deer can from 3 to 4 decline, and then from 4 to 5 just blow up if
Mm-hmm.
they don't have enough nutrition the one year and then do the next, because I mean, it needs all that minerals and protein, and I mean, it needs all that. And deer, I mean, I've seen it on cameras. It's like, oh, this deer had a down year, and then you look, well, what was the rainfall, or what was going on? Was it a drought that year? So there's a lot of things kind of going on there, and of course, there's times where you pass on a nice 130 something inch 3-year-old, and your neighbor smokes it off his front porch. It happens. What are you gonna do?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, it
just
does happen.
life.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, we've all had it happen.
mhm.
It just does. But if you want to shoot the bigger, more mature deer, it's a risk you got to take sometimes.
Yeah, it is. And one thing to keep in mind too is injury. Like if a deer is injured during the
Hmm.
rut, whether it be from fighting or whatever, it it could potentially have a goofy looking rack the following year.
Yeah.
It's just something to keep in mind too. It affects them all differently. You just never know. Injuries are weird like that, and they can get an injury from anything, man. I mean, anything under the sun. Whether it's me making a bad shot, which I hope I never do, but dude,
Yeah.
it happens.
Fighting.
Fighting, getting hit by a
Yeah.
car, and living. I mean, there's
All of it.
100 different scenarios of where these deer can get injured, and it can affect their antler growth that year, and then the next year they just get crazy big.
Well, and I think the important thing you say there is genetics,
Mm-hmm.
because there are things called cold bucks, and all a cold buck is a deer that's just genetically only going to be this giant, like 6-pointer or 5-pointer or whatever. Like I went to a Jerry Peterson's farm one year, and my job there that year was to shoot uh, this big, huge 5-pointer. Like it had a big, I mean, huge frame and stuff for a 5-point, but like it the bloodline needed to be cut off, and that was my job, was to cut off that genetic bloodline. That way it could get out of the system, and I did. But it's if you keep that kind of stuff around, then genetically your deer aren't going to get to where they could be.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you got to get those bad genes out of there. And there's some cases, there's some farms, it's like, hey, listen, fellas, all we're doing this year is shooting these cold bucks. Like, yes, I know you're going to have to pass on a 4-year-old 140, but too bad. It's more important to get these genes out. That way he'll be even bigger next year. And then for the long term of deer hunting here for 10, 15, 20 years, it's going to be better.
Mm-hmm.
So there's stuff like that to think about as well, getting those bad genes out, because this whole idea that, like, man, these deer are going to be genetically superior. So, well, I mean, if you not if a bunch of bad genes are running through there, they won't be.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. If you got a bunch
I mean,
of 5-year-old spikes with 30-inch beams, you might want to consider taking
yeah,
all them out of there.
yeah. And by the way, cold bucks are so cool because they're so unique and they're awesome. I like them,
Heck yeah.
but it's also just like, hey, man, you got to get that stuff out of there. And now listen, if you have enough money and you want to buy a farm and all you want to do is shoot whatever walks by, kudos, crush it.
Yeah,
That's
good.
that's great. I love that for you. But
Mm-hmm.
for me, if I got a 40 acre or 1,000 acre plot, whatever it is, and it's like I want to try to get the most I can out of it. And now listen, I say all that. Whenever I take K Dog this evening, that dude ain't shot a deer in whatever I said 10, 20 years. Buddy, if I don't care what walks out. If he gets excited and wants to sling an arrow through it, I don't care if it's a 6-point, a doe, a spike. I've got all sorts of little critters running through there. I don't care if a raccoon comes out and he wants to shoot it. I don't care. Tear it up.
Mm-hmm.
If it makes you excited, that's all I care about. That's amazing. I just think that's super important. Is just do what makes you happy. All we're saying is, if what makes you happy is giant bucks, here's a couple tips to make them even bigger.
Yeah, and isn't this K Dog's first time with a bow? Is that right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It'll be his first time shooting anything with a bow
Well,
other
then
than a
he
target.
well
I
then he
mean,
has a free pass, man. He can shoot whatever he wants with a bow. And the next one has
yeah,
to be a little bit
exactly.
bigger.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Well,
what my dad always told me.
although, yeah, exactly. Otherwise, I'll give him crap about it. But look, I'm going to
Yeah.
give him crap anyway. I don't care what he shoots. I'm going to give him crap about it.
Yes, yes, absolutely. That's 100% correct. I already know all
That's
that.
it. Yeah. Look, I don't make the rules, buddy. I just follow
Yeah, I don't make them. I just hang with them. That's it. That
them.
is it, man.
So,
Oh
But man,
man.
I am excited. I love that deer season's here, and it's just a great time of year. My wife is not as excited because she's like, "Oh, good, you'll be gone all the time." I'm like, yeah, that is correct. I
That
will
is
be.
correct.
Yep.
Yes. Yes, you will be.
Yes. So, but hey, look, I'll have a good time, and it'll be great. And I think we will see. I'm going to try to get my wife out to a blind with a heater and blankets and games and snacks. All the necessities of deer hunting.
Bring her
Um,
down to the ranch.
I'm going to try. I really am. It's not a matter of if we can do it. It's a matter of convincing her that it's a great idea. And because I would love for her to just be there, and
Yeah.
she doesn't necessarily have to shoot if she don't want to, but I would love for her just to experience what I keep telling her about, and to
Yes.
get a firsthand experience grasp of like, hey, this is why I love this. Like, because it's hunting's one of those things I found it's really hard to kind of explain to somebody who has literally never been around it or never done it. It's like, how do you explain to somebody that you literally watch the world wake up in God's creation, and you're watching these critters do what they do in their natural environment, and then you are so lucky enough to harvest one, and then you feed your family and friends with it, and you have a story to tell forever. And
Mm-hmm.
it's a feeling that's, for me anyway, it's hard to tell a non-hunter, not a necessarily anti-hunter. I'm going to be very clear, just of someone who just hasn't done it.
Yeah.
And I think one of the best ways to do it is to just take them with you and go, look here,
Mm-hmm.
experience what I'm experiencing. There you go.
Yep. Yep. Hey, my wife went with me turkey hunting. I'm
Yeah,
gonna try to get her to go again this year if I can. She's gonna
I
fight
hear you.
it tooth and nail, but I want her to go with me and get her to kill a dang turkey. That would be fun.
Yeah. Oh, dude, it'd be awesome. I love it. Love it, love it. Dude, on this new farm, I think I told these people about the the
Mm-hmm.
the new piece of land that I got permission to hunt.
Yes.
Well, anyway, long story short, I was down there scouting,
Mm-hmm.
and I roll up, dude, and I seen a joker with a big old rope on him. I mean, buddy.
Mm-mm-mm.
And I thought, I know it's September, and I know deer. This was a week before season opener, 5 days or whatever. And
Yeah.
I was like, I know I'm in deer mode right now, and oh, dude, I was so excited. And these turkeys, listen, I just got lucky, and this farmer that my dad knew wants turkeys and deer gone, so we're gonna go take care of that problem for him. But these turkeys are so dumb; they haven't been hunted ever.
Mm. Mm.
Oh god, oh buddy, it's gonna get. I'm just telling y'all right now. Just look out for the videos coming out after
Mm-hmm.
this turkey season coming up during the next spring, because it's gonna get stupid
Yeah, it's gonna get western.
really fast. But anyway, that's not here nor there. So I did see me a few gobblers when I was out there. So
Well, speaking of
I'm
gobblers,
excited.
yesterday I did see this turkey that I ended up naming Bunyan. So he
Oh no!
steps. So there's three longbeards that step out of the corn, and they're all doing their thing, just hanging out, chilling, eating. This one's got a terrible limp. Terrible. I was like, what the
Oh
hell's
no!
wrong with that bird? Dude.
Pimp with a limp.
Yeah, man. I was like, boy, that's so Snoop Dogg's buddy over there crip walking for us. Oh, man. Well, that dude got closer, and I don't know what he did to his foot. He did something. That thing was crooked over to the side real hard. I was like, dang, man, did you break your leg or something? But, dude, he was having a hard time, little fella. I felt bad for him. But I started calling him
Oh no!
Bunyan because it made me think of getting a bunion on your toe and it hooking it to the side real far. So we're gonna try to get old Bunyan this spring. See if we can't take him out,
That's right. Oh,
eat him.
well, look here. You will know if it's him because he'll be crip walking to you the whole time.
Oh, dude, he will be crip walking the whole way, man. The whole way. Yeah, he will be. He's got a big old beard on him. He's got some nice spurs too. So we'll see what happens with him. We don't know. You never know.
Oh, that's
You
funny.
never know. Yes,
Oh
sir.
my goodness. But yeah, so that is the recap. It sounds like of day one of regular Tennessee archery season, and mine will start this evening, and we will just go from there. So obviously, this hurricane that we've mentioned a few times now, very serious. Praying for all those people affected by that. You know, their safety and everything, and hope all that gets better for all those communities, because man, that thing went wild. I know, you know, the reason this podcast is late is, I mean, it just affected, really affected all the areas, and especially Middle Tennessee. So for those of you that don't know, kind of the how Tennessee is laid out, you see, so how it is in very simple terms, East Tennessee is, you know, I'm on a plateau where Ben is in a bowl, and you know, it's more susceptible to flood and all those sorts of things. So that is why this podcast is a little late. Poor Ben was swimming there for a minute, and you know, rain was coming down crazy, and like I said, high winds, and just, you know, again, not near as bad as other places, obviously, but still affected us. So you know, that's kind of where we are on that. But
Yeah.
you know, all is well now.
Yeah, thankfully though, nothing was damaged, nothing was, you know, hurt. We got some big limbs down in the yard, but that's about it, really.
Yeah. So, you know, it's just a matter of, you know, you gotta be there for your family first, more than this podcast. So I mean, you know, we just wanna say that is why. I do apologize that it's late, but hey, we're here.
Yep.
And that's all right.
We're here.
It's gonna be okay.
Yep. We're here, and we do send our condolences to everybody that has been affected by this flood, and you know, we'll be praying for you, like John said,
So,
for this hurricane,
but
not flood.
all of this talk, this kind of leads me into what we're going to talk about next, and by next I mean next week on next week's episode. All this rain kind of got us thinking that we need to talk and discuss about how to hunt in the rain and what that looks like, and all sorts of things, how deer act and how deer move, and maybe certain equipment you should use, and all sorts of things like that. And so I think that's what we're going to talk about next time, is deer hunting in the rain, and I'm sure we'll have a story or two in there to tell. We always do.
Always got a story to tell, and always got somewhere to be found. You never know where we're going to show up.
No. So look, we'll go on a tangent for sure, as always.
Oh yeah.
But other than that, folks, I really appreciate y'all listening. If you want to support this podcast, there is a link in the description below. Please click that, and you could donate whatever you guys see fit. It's what keeps our show going, so I really do appreciate that. We also have a merch store, rootedtelevision.com. Check us out. We've got shirts, hats, hoodies, sweatpants, all sorts of goodies on there, so I really appreciate that. If you guys got some sweet swag for the fall time. I mean, a hoodie and a sweatpant combo in the fall, dude. I mean, there's nothing better, man. I love sweatpants and a hoodie.
Yep.
My gosh, you got the fire going. You're drinking some hot chocolate. You know, what a great time, really. So go on there, get you some merch. Ben, anything else, my friend?
No, man, that's it. With that, the redneck is out.
See y'all.
For all things Rooted Podcast and Rooted Television, and I mean hats, shirts, hoodies, and other merch, check out our friends at CH Lone Star Pro and the link that is in our description.